Hello and welcome to Unpacking Live episode 6. I can't believe we made it this far. I am Christian from Hunky Tops, your host, owner of Hunky Tops Apparel, joined by my co host, Joe Federico, the marketing maven. Joe, happy Friday.
Christian,
How are you doing?
happy Friday, episode 6.
Can
I
you
knew
believe
we'd
it?
make it this far, man. Come on, give us some credit.
Yeah, yeah, I know. We do it every other week, so 6 episodes. That's 12 weeks. That's a long time. So
We are in a
this
long-term committed relationship, Christian.
we apparently are. So this is great. I'm excited. I'm super happy. Also because this weekend is Father's Day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's Pride and it's Father's Day weekend, and we decided that we should honor the daddies and the dads and the fathers in our lives.
And the
So
zaddies
that's
out there.
and the daddies. So that's what we're here to talk about. We know it could be a loaded subject. A lot of people may or may not have issues with it, and so we understand it. If if you feel triggered or if you don't like this subject, it's okay. You don't have to stick around and listen. But otherwise, yeah, let's begin. I want to invite everybody who's listening live, but also anybody who's watching the replay to just leave comments and let us know what they think about the subjects and participate because that's what we're doing this. It's for you all.
That's why we're here.
So, Joe, let's begin. Daddies.
And we can spend hours talking about this topic, Christian. And
I know I
being
can.
sensitive to all those out there, as you had said, it could be a loaded, a heavy topic or traumatic, or it could be fun and sexy. And it could be everything. And we're holding space on this live and the replay for everyone out there. So strained relationship with my father. This is not the therapy
Let's dig
section.
right in. Yeah, let's dig into
We're
the
gonna
therapy
dig
section of this. Yes.
hot and heavy. But somebody that did raise me is my maternal, on my mom's side, my grandfather, and he was a
Mhm.
Joseph E. Mucci, and he basically raised me and my sister, and he was one of the most gentle men that you could ever encounter. He was happy and proud to be a grandfather, father figure. And one of the most memorable trips I had ever taken with him, and I think I wrote about this in one of the
You did
articles on
for Hunky
Unpacking
Tops. Yes.
Closet, is I was about maybe 8 or 9 years old, maybe a little bit younger, and my grandfather took me specifically to New York City for a granddad, grandson day. And we had gone to the Museum of Natural History, and there was a dinosaur exhibit because it was around the time that Jurassic Park came out. And he bought me my favorite dinosaur toy. And then we went for hot dogs at a vendor on the street and pretzels and soda. I think it was Coca-Cola at the time. And I'm there right now smelling the smells of the city and being with my grandfather, being so happy and proud that I was with him,
That's
and knowing there was energy back, from his perspective. So
that's a beautiful memory, Joe. And why do you think it made such an impact in your life? I mean, why do you still remember it till today?
just that he cared. And I mean, obviously I was little and I know that I deserve the love and the care, but I was just so happy and felt safe. I think it's mostly the safety
Hmm.
factor. And then we went to the Intrepid, and this was the most impactful part, Christian, where we walked up and we checked in, we paid, the entrance fee. And there was a man with a typewriter and metal where you could get a dog tag on the
Hmm.
Intrepid at the time. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been in over 30 plus years. But I remember him telling the gentleman behind the typewriter his number from World War II from his dog tag that he still remembered. And my
Hmm.
grandfather never talked about the war. I remember
Right.
hearing stories of him coming home after all was said and done. Obviously, he was safe, and he packed all his shit up in a bag and threw it in the river. And he never talked about it our entire lives. So the fact that in hindsight, hearing him spew his number out and putting my name on the dog tag and giving me a souvenir of the day, I'm getting chills. I'm getting a little teary-eyed.
Yeah, I
It was
know.
one of
I
the most
understand.
special moments. And after he died, I actually wound up finding his original dog tag, and I put them together.
Oh, that's so nice. And
Change.
you inherited his name, right? So you are
I did.
Joseph. Yeah,
Yeah,
are you named after him? Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
am.
That's
I am.
beautiful.
I'm named after a few different Josephs in my family, lineage.
Mhm.
But I get my love of crabbing and all things nautical and the seashore from him as well. So
Very
there you
nice.
have it.
Very, very lovely father figure in your life. Yes.
How about you?
I
Any fathers in your
I
life that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad, of course, I love you, dad. Te quiero mucho. Yeah, he was always there. He's the kind of dad that he puts his family first. Family needs before his own needs.
Sure.
And I just remember growing up. He was always hustling. Always doing all the jobs that he could do to provide for his family. Um, we were never really we never really had a lot of money growing up, so
Mhm.
I don't remember the struggle because he and my mom, they sheltered my sister and I so much from all of that, right, that we had no idea. We were just happy kids, but they were really struggling financially. And I just remember having fun at a Christmas with my dad, because we were at a Christmas fair. What I didn't know is that my dad was hustling, right? It was like Christmas night. He was still trying to sell some Chinese toys that he had bought just so he
Wow.
could have some money to buy us some presents, right?
Sure.
And I just remember it was like Christmas Eve, and we were at this Christmas fair, and in my mind it was just so much fun, right? Because it was like, I don't know, I must have been like 5 years old.
You were
Um,
a kid. You didn't know any better.
I had no idea. I was just having fun, right? But later on, yeah, I learned that he was just still trying to sell the last toys that he had from some Chinese shipment that he had bought, just to try to make ends meet.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, he's always been there for me through it all. Yeah, and I love him greatly. Other than him, but also an important father or figure in my life, was a mentor that I had in my when I was in Chile doing my master's degree.
Mhm.
My master's degree supervisor or advisor, uh, his name was Alvaro. He was a really, really smart guy, one of the most brilliant minds that I've ever met. And not only was he brilliant, but he had this very deep sense of like community. He was the kind of professor that he always kept all of his students, engaged and committed, and we would always hang out together just because he brought us together, right? Um, so he inspired a lot of the decisions that I made back in the day. I wanted to become a professor back in the day. I wanted to get a PhD. I wanted to follow all of that career mostly because of him, because I loved what he was doing and I wanted to do something similar.
Wow.
Um, Sadly, he passed while I was doing my master's degree. He had like a aneurysm. All of a sudden one day he didn't show up to work. Nobody knew what was going on. We found out that he had died. So it was a shock. It was terrible for all of us. We were all devastated, and yeah, it was an important paternal father figure in
Sure.
my life, and sadly one that is no longer around with us. But a lot of the things that I learned from him, I keep him to this day. And yeah, and I always think of him. And actually, yeah, he's the anniversary of his day is coming up. So uh,
Wow.
hi to Alvaro up there, wherever he is. So yeah,
Very
those are the father figures in our lives. I want to shout out to the folks listening right now live. I invite you all to leave comments. Who are the father figures in your lives? Tell us. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment and tell us who the father figures in your lives
And
are.
we'll get
We're,
back to you
we're,
and right back.
we're happy. We're happy to hear. Yes. So there are other father figures in our lives, though, Joe. Right? I mean,
Many,
in other
in other ways.
in other aspects, yes, as well. I remember growing up, I always had this thing for father figures on pop culture and on TV, right? I didn't know what it was. I was a child. I didn't know better, right? And like I said, I had a great relationship with my own dad. So it's not like I was missing that aspect in my life. But there was something about the dads on TV that I
Something a
just,
little different.
I don't know. They just made me feel things that I didn't know what they were. And
I
I mean,
can
again, I was a
imagine.
child, so maybe I don't even know now what they were, but they made me feel things. So I know that you have a special place in your heart for a particular TV dad. Can you tell me about it?
TV dads, you know,
In
not in a
general,
six-seed way by any means, but Carl Winslow on Family Matters was a great father figure on television at the time in the 90s. Just,
um, is this? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Is this Alan Thicke? Is that who we're talking about?
is it one? No, 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 no,
Who's
no.
the
So
actor? No,
this
no.
is different. I'm adding another one in there. I have a few different ones. I'm adding
Okay, okay.
not based off of our prior conversations. So Carl Winslow, Family Matters, he was a cop. It was
Oh,
his
I know who this
African
guy is.
American
Yes,
family with
I
Steve
remember.
Urkel and Laura and
Yeah, yeah.
Stefan. I mean, just as a
This was
father
80s.
figure on
Yeah,
television, was
yeah.
he was funny. He always lost his temper, very comedic. You know, great show in general regarding that. But in a different manner, this is where what we talked about growing pains, growing up.
Growing pains. That's what
Alan
I was
Thicke,
thinking about.
Alan Thicke. I mean,
Absolutely thick.
he could fill out a pair of jeans and shorts like nobody's business. In hindsight, I didn't know what was going on at the time in my head growing up watching this show. And
But
then,
you, but something was going on, of
but
course.
something was
But
going on.
he was also a great dad, though, wasn't he? I
He was a
remember him
great
being a
dad.
good dad.
He was a
Yeah,
great dad. He always cared about his children, always put his family first.
yeah.
And then, you know, something was doing it for me, like an 80s dad, you know, with the really thick hair and really thick body. So let's call it.
Yeah. Um, someone who's aged very gracefully as well.
He
If you
did.
haven't
He
seen
did.
Alan Thicke lately, yes.
Who else?
Fine, fine dad material
A
for sure.
fine dad specimen, father specimen. Then if you fast forward a little bit, I'm certainly going to add two more. Alexander Skarsgård from True Blood was a father figure towards the end of the series, you know, for his fledglings and his
Oh, right, because I never finished the show, but you're right.
highly recommend, my friend. Highly
He
recommend.
had like some vampire progeny, I guess. Yes.
He did. And he just finally came to his senses and he really stood up to the task, you know, towards the end of the series. Great character development, by the way. Great books, but a great show. And just in the sense of pop culture, as far as that's concerned, great father figure. And then Queer as Folk, the American version, Brian Kinney, played by Gail Harold, was an excellent, a shitty but then excellent
I
father
wouldn't say
figure.
excellent. Yeah, I mean, he also kind of comes around. He has a huge story arc for sure. Yeah, but I
Very
don't
good
know if it
story
would.
arc.
I don't know if I would call him an excellent dad, but definitely a good example of a dad.
But that,
I agree.
right, but in a sense of, and I know we're going to get into this in a few minutes, but regarding the gay and queer community, taking on the role of dad or father or
Well,
daddy or
an
daddy,
actual
whatever that
father.
is.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And he struggled with his own father as well until he passed, the character.
I
So
remember.
that
Yeah.
definitely hit home, I think, for a lot of us in the community. But also, like, he was also daddy, like, you know, for us gay men that were just coming out and realizing
In
what they
the what was that the 90s? Was it like
that
late
was, I
90s?
think,
Was it early
I think
2000s?
early 2000s. I think
Early
2001 is when it
2000s.
came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that was the time for me. I remember it. Um, but to me, it's daddies in that era. I remember Three Men and a Baby. Do you remember that
Oh
movie?
my gosh, yes.
It was like in the 1980s, right?
Mhm.
Um, who were they? It was Tom Selleck. It
Yes.
was Ted Danson,
Yes.
and I the name of the other daddy escapes me.
I'm seeing his name,
Uh, but
totally drawing a blank on who that actor is.
I don't remember his name. But to me, it was always Ted Danson and Magnum PI, the daddies in this. The whole idea of having three hunks, raising a kid was probably crazy back in the day. I just loved that movie because I love seeing these guys. I was a child. I didn't know better, right?
You
So
didn't know what was going on.
this probably wasn't really sexual. Now in retrospect, I always lusted for those guys, but yeah,
Tom Selleck,
I
man,
just remember.
oh boy.
I just yes. Well, even Magnum PI, right? Like the character is not really a dad in the show, but he's
Sure.
always very protective. There are episodes where he helps young guys with their problems, and
Mhm.
it always had kind of like that daddy aura to him, I would say.
Here's a question. Here's a question that we did not talk about. This is organic,
Mhm.
guys.
Sure.
What in retrospect, what is it about those gentlemen or those shows that exudes fatherhood to you, or that makes you want to become any form of a father or anything along those lines? Like, what is it watching those shows that assisted you?
To
Was
me,
it
I think it all
safety?
had to
Was it
do.
feeling, yeah,
I think it had to do with protection, right? So they were always like protectors.
yeah,
I felt like a lot of these characters were trying to help out, but they were put themselves in front of danger, right? So it will shield whoever the other character was from whatever kind of danger, and that to me is just one aspect of this like father figure. So definitely that, but also this is just more like a personal thing, I guess, because I was growing in Chile. I don't know. I just thought these guys were hot, and it was
sure.
not. They didn't look like my dad or any dad that I knew. So I don't know. Maybe I like that part too. What about you? What do you think?
I definitely have to agree with what you had said a few seconds ago. Definitely the protective aspect, feeling like I would be safe around. I think these dads, these gentlemen,
They felt safe
um,
for sure. Yeah.
these characters, 100%. Like I said with my grandfather, the most
Right.
memorable time I ever had with him was that one day in the city, and I had many years with him. He passed when I was in college, so definitely that. And just as you were saying, like I felt that I wouldn't say different in a negative sense, but definitely knew I was attracted to the stronger male types, or the archetype
Mhm.
um, of being cared for. And I think I really like appreciated that, but also who they were as men, as hot men of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, to be honest.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. The other aspect that really I like burned into my memory as a young man, it had a big impact, and we did talk about this briefly before, is that I do remember a lot of the media in the 80s and maybe even earlier, even before the 80s. There were a lot of stories where the main character or the hero had a sidekick who was a younger
Yes.
kid,
Mhm.
usually a young man, right? And I remember just feeling so jealous about the sidekicks, right? I wanted to be a sidekick. I wanted, as a child,
Right.
I felt, I identified with the sidekick. I wanted to be the companion to these like heroes that were doing all this cool stuff, and they were bringing
Mhm.
a kid with them, right? Um, Again, maybe it wasn't necessarily sexual, but I remember I never really liked these sidekicks. I just wanted to be them, right? I always thought they were like loud and obnoxious,
Mhm.
and it's like, uh, but it was like a
Bratty and
jealousy
right.
type of thing. Um, I remember, Indiana Jones had a sidekick. Of course, Batman had Robin, and I don't know, the Lone Ranger. I mean, there's a bunch of like, or even on TV. What is the TV show in North Carolina that also has the little boy around? There's a lot of shows where there's like a male lead character, and then their sidekick is usually not related by blood, right? It's
Sure.
usually just some either an orphan, or usually it has like a mom, so they try to get the hero to start a relationship with her mom or something like that. That was typically the storylines. But yeah, I didn't like the sidekicks, but I wanted to be one.
They were so undeserving, right? I mean, I'm thinking of Batman and Robin in the 90s, those films. Was it George Clooney and Chris? Oh, I'm drawing a blank on who Robin was at the time.
I I I remember the movies, of course. I
But I
do not
remember that
remember
was certainly like an awakening for me,
them.
especially those films where they like, and I remember there are articles that came out about this at the time, but also, I wasn't supposed to be reading, but now that a lot of gay men had their awakening during the Batman years in the 90s because
Yes.
the suit came out and it was muscular and the nipple.
And the nipples and
That's a whole
and
different
the
conversation.
butt. Yes. Oh my God. Also, those images are seared
Are
in my
right
mind.
seared, like burned into the mind's eye, at least mine. Everybody out there listening. But yeah, Batman and Robin. Like I had wished as well that I could be like a Robin, right? That
Yep.
had
Yep.
Batman in my life, not only for the financial security, you know, but
True.
also he was a protector. He was a hero, right? And
Yep.
what young man, at least speaking for myself, I think you can agree and relate, didn't want that kind of figure in his or their lives at the
Yep.
time. Now, to be honest, so or aspire to be like that for a future chosen family or for children. So
True. So, to people who are listening, either live or in the replay, who were the hunks that awakened you? Did you have any father figure that you saw on pop culture, on TV, or on movies that made you feel things? Let
you're in
us
a safe
know.
space.
Yes, yes. Tell us. We want to hear about it.
I want
Um,
to go back and watch all the Batman movies now. We did a few years ago, and
those
they do not hold up, by the way. All those old Batman movies do not hold up,
um,
but
th-
they're nice to look at.
it's
So
it's Batman. Yeah, I agree. Um, I do want to go back and watch like old 1950s and 60s movies with all this like old Hollywood punks that a lot of them were closeted gay men,
yeah,
because yeah, they were good.
they were
So
in lavender marriages too back at the time, and they couldn't be
yeah,
their true selves. So I
yeah,
hope they're
we
looking
gotta
down on the episode or hearing us, and uh, as we pay
sing.
tribute in Pride Month. So
Yes. Um, but yeah, we were talking also about gay dads today. When I was a young person, not that I'm not young anymore, but when I was
no, you're
younger, I
still
guess
fabulous.
I thank you. When I was young, I do remember thinking that when I was coming to terms with my sexuality and who I was, there were two things that were not in the books for me. One of them was marriage, and the other one was fatherhood. I never thought that I was going to get married because marriage equality was not even a thing that
Sure,
anybody was talking about in Chile back in the day. And for sure, I knew that I was never going to be a dad. Um, so those are things that never really matter that much to me. It, I never really saw myself as a dad, and I never really felt like I needed to be a dad.
hmm.
So it's not an aspect in my life that I feel like I'm missing. That and the fact that I don't really like children that much. So
Totally
you
fair.
know,
Totally
I
fair.
don't, I don't feel like bringing children to the world is something that I would feel proud of. Um,
Interesting.
so it never really, and this is just a very very personal thing.
Sure.
But the same way, like I never thought about getting married, right? When my husband and I, when marriage equality was a possibility, and my husband and I had the conversation, it was, he was my partner back in the day. We talked about it. It was like, are we getting married or not? And he was of the same idea, right? For him, marriage was always out of the question, so he never even
Sure.
thought about it. So all of a sudden, you know, we had to start questioning ourselves. It's like, do we want to get married? Is this the thing that we want to do? Fatherhood also came into on the table, right? It's like, and
Oh,
if we get married, is are we gonna have children? Is that because I wanted to make sure that that was that he understood that it was never my plan, and I
you were
just wanted to
aligned
know,
before really committing to each other.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and he also didn't want to have children, so it was never really on the books for
done.
us.
Yeah.
But what about you? Do you feel like you want to have children?
You know, there's still a big part of me that does want a child. I would, prefer a son when, but I'm also of the age where I'm finally figuring shit out with my growing my business and my clients or my children, you know what I mean? And I want all that aligned before saying I have it all and do I really want a child? And I think the answer would still be yes in a few years. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, but I mean older. I'm also not getting any younger, but
None
um
of us is.
I would say it's still important to me just to get I think my family name out there because even though all the trials, tribulation, trauma that we've all been through, but speaking for myself, in particular, I'm still proud of my family name and history for whatever reason, and I want to have that carried out into the world, whether it be biologically or through adoption. I'm okay with either one because my partner's adopted. I, was not, and we had two very different experiences and different father figures in our lives throughout the years, and even to this day. I would say I do enjoy being a caregiver, a caretaker. I like being the dad of the group. I like being a daddy now that I'm getting older, kind of in my silver fox years, which I am kind of digging. The dad bod, working on being healthier, but I'm okay with my body for the most part as well. And a few years ago, we had some friends and they were a little bit younger, and I liked taking care of them. I liked hosting events. I liked offering them kind of positions to have them learn different things about marketing and, PR, event management, and I liked providing. I liked seeing them grow and prosper. Was it healthy? I mean, to each their own, I guess. Probably not the most healthy at the time, for me and my growth,
Mhm.
but I enjoyed that. Like a part of me really wanted to provide and see the growth and, feel like I was doing something right in the world, right? For the younger gay community. That has changed a little bit, but something in me still likes providing. But when it comes to plants, I'm certainly a plant daddy, and
That's
I
true.
love
I've seen that.
providing care and love. And I talk to my plants, I sing to them, I talk to them. So
Hey,
I don't know.
there's a lot of plant daddies out there. We love our plant daddies. I love taking care of my plants as well. I don't really talk to them. Maybe I should. I do feel very responsible for them, which is crazy.
Yes.
Maybe it's not crazy. I think we talked about this. I don't know. I One thing that I love to do is go to Lowe's or any of the big box stores
Yeah.
and get the plants that are dying and that they're sold for like real cheap and
Uh-huh.
try to nurse them back to health. That's kind of like my goal is like is
That's
if
so
I can
sweet.
bring
That's so cute.
if I can rescue this thing that is dying, and I can make it live again, I feel like
Come home to
uh,
daddy. Let me take care of
I
you.
yes, I feel like it's like a sense of accomplishment, right? But I must say my record is not the greatest. I A lot of those plants are dead. At the moment you buy them out, they're already dead. But I've managed to rescue a few.
A valiant
So
effort, Christian. A valiant effort.
but I agree with you about this need or of this, like I would say, natural inclination of wanting to be a provider. That's not something that's exclusive to men in particular,
Sure, sure.
but or like a caregiver. I'm sorry, and I do remember kind of like fulfilling that role when I was as a professor, right? And I was teaching a lot of students. But the teachings go beyond the classroom, right? Students will come to you with their problems, so sorry, and that kind of like mentor mentee relationship will develop, and I would say that like my needs for being for fulfilling that father figure role kind of were met during that time when I was doing those things,
Sure.
and I do miss that a little bit. Um, but again, I don't think having children is right for me.
Yeah. And
However,
that's
yeah, there's a
perfectly
lot of
valid.
people.
There's a
There's a
lot of
lot of
gay
people
men out
out
there.
there.
Yeah.
A lot of gay men that are having children. Uh, they're forming their own families. It doesn't have to be just children, also, right? It's like
No.
volunteering. There's all of this, um, like standing pride. Initiatives, right, where you provide like support to people that are don't have those either father figures or any kind of like family figures in their lives, like for important events, right? You can just show up and support them that way, and help
Sure.
them, and at the same time, you fulfill that need of helping out and being, the
On your own
provider.
terms. On your own
Yeah,
terms. Which
yeah.
is so
I
important too, but I
Sure.
wanted to also say there's an innate part of me too that is excited and really also wants to be a godfather. And, my partner and I may eventually become co-godfathers to our best
That's
friend,
beautiful.
son. So that may fulfill something in me as well that says, well, if I'm a godfather and God forbid anything happens to my friend or our friend, then there may be a possibility, you know what I mean? So there are
Yeah.
many levels of fatherhood, I think, that we have dove into and that we can also talk about in the future. So
Also, as gay men, we have the very unique opportunity of being fabulous uncles.
yes,
To those of us who have siblings, and when they
e-
have their children, then
exactly.
we become the uncle, and yeah, that's also great
And
because you're the fun uncle, and you don't get any of the shit, right? So,
and then we're like, here, have a great day. See you at the next holiday or event.
right.
What have
I
you?
just
But
gave
I
a
also
bunch of
want to
chocolate to your kid.
what exactly? I
I
will I will spend a shit ton of money on your kid and then
and
feed them
then leave
sugar and
you with a problem. Yeah,
but I
spoil them
also
rotten.
do want to pay homage to the kink community too. The whole daddy's daddy thing is also a thing, and we certainly respect that. So it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
big in
So
our
that's
community.
how do I know, and it's very interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, I know that some people identify as a daddy and very comfortable.
Yeah,
I have a lot of
yeah,
like daddy T-shirts in my store, and they do really well. And a lot of these guys, they write to me. They love the T-shirts and everything. But I know I've like
great.
going on Scruff. I see a lot of people. It's not just a few. I see a lot of profiles. People asking, "This like, don't call me daddy," right? That's gross. And so I kind of see the the both ends of the spectrum, right? So people that may have issues that they don't like the whole father son dynamic because maybe I don't know. There could be many reasons, right?
Maybe it's too
And
much. Yeah.
we just gotta respect them. But yeah. Do you consider? I mean, what? How do you feel about that? Do you, if people call you daddy, how do you feel?
I like that. I also like, when, in an appropriate manner, I get called daddy by my partner,
Mhm.
in certain,
Okay.
I totally like that.
So you're the daddy in the relationship, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. And there's no shame in saying that and
Mhm.
believing that. Um, but also my preferences when I watch certain things to be totally PC, for the sake of this, to not get pulled. I do like the daddy kink, and find
Mhm.
older men attractive. So absolutely. How about you?
I
How about you, sir?
I it's funny. I don't like being called daddy just because I don't feel myself
Sure.
like a dad. It's weird, right? I don't really know what makes a dad, right? Like a daddy. I'm sorry, I mean a daddy.
Right,
Like
right,
in
right.
this
In that
in this
sense.
sense,
Sure.
I find myself. I do enjoy. I like the media and everything. I like it, and I don't have any problem with it. But
Right.
I don't identify myself as a daddy, right? So it's funny to me was when I'm again, if I'm on Scruff or whatever, sometimes I see a guy and I think to myself, "Hello, daddy," right? And then I look
Yes.
and they're like
That's the first thing
they're
you think of.
way younger than me. And it's like, wait, that's weird, right? It's like, why? What is it about this person that makes me think of him as
Think
a daddy
sure, sure.
if he's younger than I am, right? It's like it's weird. And at the same time, sometimes people write to me and say, "Hey, daddy," and I'm like, "No, I'm not no one's daddy." And
I
I
would
so
take that as a
basically,
compliment because you can be
oh,
totally classified in the best way as
Thank you.
as a hunky
I
dory fan,
I never
100%.
I don't get offended. I do take it as a compliment. Totally.
You
I think
should. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really, but I don't think of
You don't
myself
feel
as a
like it.
daddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah. But
Interesting.
if people decide to call me daddy, it's like hey, I'll accept it. But
I
yes, I don't see myself as one.
I prefer that over the bear kink. I'm not shaming that
Mhm,
community either,
mhm.
but the bear, otter, fox, I still don't understand that, to be honest. So if you have
It's yeah,
comments,
it's like which
let
animal
us
are you?
know, to educate. But I understand the daddy son culture better than the bear community, if that makes sense. And that feels more
I
comfortable
guess
to me.
I guess it makes sense. I love the bird community. But this is super secret. Don't tell anybody. I'm not a hairy person, so I don't feel like I identify myself as a bear.
Sure.
But I've always been attracted to bears. The hairier, the better. And yeah, it's funny because I guess I tried to grow the beard for the longest time,
Yeah.
and I yeah, people kind of assume that I'm a bear sometimes, and I'm like, if
Because
they,
the facial hair.
I never take my shirt off. Like if they saw my chest, they will be like, "Oh my god, that's no bear." I do have the belly though, so I guess that's fine.
I can
But
okay. I see what you're okay. I understand. Yeah,
but
go
the
ahead.
thing I was gonna say about the dad son thing is that I understand the problem is to me it's still weird just because it's feels like incest, right? And that's not a thing that I feel comfortable with,
Right.
right? So that's what makes it kind of weird to me, and especially when I know it's a silly distinction, but when people use the term dad son, it makes it kind of gross. But if it's
It's a
daddy,
cringe
it's
for
kind
you.
of like
Yeah, yeah.
is different. I don't know. It's just a silly distinction, I guess.
And also,
Um,
like straight dads are hot too. I have to be honest. If I see a hot dad walking down the street, that's like a totally
I
attractive,
I know exactly what you're saying.
for whatever
When
it's
you
worth.
go, oh my god, the Disney dads, so like when you go to
Oh my
Disneyland,
gosh,
or like
yes.
any, or oh my
Stop.
farmers market dads too. It's like you go to the
Oh man,
farmers
yeah.
market and it's just like, why are there so many dads and why are
Or
they all so
straight
hot?
dads that garden are like, wow, you are sexy.
Those are
Or that
also plant
builds
daddies.
things. Oh, but in
Yep.
particular, the straight ones. I don't know. Something
But how
fantastic
can you
about that.
tell they're straight? I don't know. I don't care.
I
I don't
mean,
discriminate. Whatever.
oh no,
They're
no, no,
all
definitely not. No,
they're
no.
all easy on the eyes. So
Speaking of
that's no
easy on the
shame.
eyes, Christian, how
Yes.
about our t-shirts? You want to get into that before we wrap
Let's
up?
let's talk about t-shirts. Yes, let's do it. So show me your t-shirt. What are you
Oh
wearing
man,
today?
I'm wearing Dissolve the Binary by Hunky Tops, obviously size
Yes.
large. It's a great fit. I've had this actually for a few months. It washes really well. And I love wearing it out, as I always say, to the gym, to bed. I even dress it up with some nice shorts and my flip flops now that it's getting warmer out here in New Jersey.
Nice.
And it fits all the right places. My chest, my stomach. I really love, especially the message during Pride is Dissolve the Binary. So check it
Yeah,
out.
I'm glad you like it. Thank you, Joe. The
Yeah,
QR code was on the screen. Yeah, that I created the design a long time ago, just because I'm tired. I'm tired of all of these rigid, senseless
just let it go.
norms.
Exactly.
Right? It's like, why can't men wear skirts or paint their nails? Although a lot of guys are doing it now. Good
They
for
are
you
now,
guys.
even straight men. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, even for men or heels, right?
Yes.
And why women can't, why do they have to wear all the makeup all the time? And why do we have all these they're so stupid, it doesn't make any sense. I'm tired of it. Let's break it all. Let's
It's a
just be
broken
who we want to
society, my
be.
friend.
It is. It
Amen
really
to
is.
that.
It really is. So let's dissolve the binaries. I'm tired of them. Get rid of them.
Get
I
rid
am
of them.
wearing today. I'm wearing my Galian t-shirt.
I still love that print so much.
Thank you so much. It's I like it too. It's one of my favorites, and I thought it was topical with everything that's going on in this country right now. I'm appalled, scared, it's terrible. I'm not to get political, but I do have to speak out as an immigrant, as a gay person. What
Yes.
this government is
Yes.
doing in California is inexcusable. We cannot, and as an immigrant who came from a country that spent years under a military government, we didn't have democracy in Chile for a very long time. I grew up seeing the military on the streets. People, I'm getting this is hard to talk about. People were
Sure.
disappearing from the streets, and that's how where I grew up, right? And I moved to the States, and I see this stuff. I'm sorry,
It's okay.
it's tough. It's hard for me to talk about this,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I see all of this stuff going on in California. It's too much. I cannot stand it. So yeah, I think I understand if you don't want to be visible, if you're scared of who you are right now. But what I'm trying to say is you don't have to be. You can be who you are. Just surround yourself with people that are there to protect you, like your father figures, your chosen family, and just be safe and be who you are. So yeah, this t-shirt is for all the gay aliens out there fighting the good fight. We're in this together. We'll be fine. After all is said and done, we'll be just fine. I'm gonna put the QR code, click on the gay alien t-shirt, and yeah, that's
Well
it.
said,
Sorry.
Christian.
Sorry, I got emotional. It's
Don't
hard to talk about this
apologize.
stuff,
This is a very
but
tumultuous time.
but this is where we are. Yes. Wow. Whew. That was a
Wow,
lot.
we unpacked a lot from this closet.
We did. We definitely did.
Whoa. Holy shit.
Joe, where can people find you if people want to reach out to you?
Well, you can certainly shoot me a text, 973-289-3517. If you want to talk about anything political, of course, I do have an open door policy with my business, but also to talk about hunky tops and talk about if you want a free 25-minute consultation to grow your business. I'm your friend. I'm your marketing coach. I'm the marketing maven, and you are loved and supported. So there's that. And find me on Instagram at Joseph A. Federico.
Awesome. Great. And
How about you?
if people want to find me, you can just go to hunkytops.com, scroll all the way to the bottom. There's links to all of the Hunky Tops social media, Hunky Tops apparel, Instagram. Blue Sky is really where I spend a lot of time lately. Even
Yeah.
Reddit, I've been spending a lot of time on Reddit. It's Hunky Tops everywhere. And the way I pronounce it, by the way, is hunky as in as hunky. It's not honky. I'm sorry. It's Hunky Tops. And yeah, this is a solopreneur venture. I'm the person behind Hunky Tops. So if you reach out to any of my social media, it's me answering all the messages. So
It's
yeah,
you.
you'll hear from me. So just reach out. And to everybody who's listening, thank you for listening this whole time. It was a long one, but it was exciting. If you're watching the replay, thank you also for watching, and don't hesitate to leave comments, send messages on social media. We're here for you. We're here to talk about all of this.
And happy
Yes,
Pride
and
and happy Father's Day to everyone
happy
listening
Pride
who
and happy
celebrates.
Father's Day. Yes, have a good one. Thank you, Joe, so much for your
Thank
time,
you, Christian,
and
as
we'll be
always.
in touch soon. We'll talk soon.